Hey, happy campers, Todd here, Great American RV Superstores, and today we're talking about our power steps on our motorized units. So these electric steps are real convenient getting in and out of the unit. If we want them to stay stationary, we're at the campground, we open and close that door, we can go ahead and do that by turning that switch off on the inside. If we want them to go in and out, let's say we're in travel, we turn that switch on, and when we close our door, those steps will go up. That works off of a magnet sensor right here on the door. We can see where it meets this other one right here. And once those magnets connect, it senses that the door is closed and it will close those steps. What do we do in the instance that the steps do not come in? Well, let's go over that now. First thing we want to do before we go disable the steps is we want to make sure that we have power to the steps, meaning that our battery disconnect is on and that our switch is on right here, sensing for those steps to come in and out. You may also try to turn your ignition on. Sometimes there's an override on the ignition for the steps to come in once that engine is started, even if this switch is turned off. Other things we may want to do is check our fuse panels to see if there is a fuse for those power steps and make sure that that fuse is not blown. You also want to ensure that your magnets are stuck on well and haven't fallen off, and when you close the door, they line up properly. So we can see we have our harness down for our steps. The color code for this particular system, we see our red wire right here. This is our constant hot coming from our battery. So we should have power to that. If we were to test it with a test light like so, we're gonna see that we have power there. And if we had our ignition on, this yellow wire right here would be hot. That would go ahead and signal that motor to turn in and pull the steps in when the ignition's on. And our brown wire is to that magnet up on our door. That is going to actually be a ground wire, so we won't see any voltage on that. All it's doing is completing the ground once those magnets touch. And this gray or white wire right here is coming from our 12-volt switch that we turn on or off for the steps, commanding those steps to operate once that door closes in and out. So in this case, everything is operational, but we want to look at how we would disable this assembly in the event that, let's say, our motor froze up or we're not getting power to our system and we don't know what to do. So there's two options. One option would be to pull this pin right up here, and in some cases that may be what you have to do, but generally I'm going to tell customers to pull this motor out because this pin is going to have a decent amount of tension on it and it's going to be pretty difficult to get out if you don't have the right tools. So the best case scenario is to pull these 3 bolts out for your motor. So we're going to do that now real quick. So this is a 13/32 or a 10 millimeter generally. We would go ahead and put this on here. You also have an Allen bolt option if you have a set of Allen wrenches to pull this apart. All right, so we got all our bolts out. One thing you want to do is hold pressure up against these steps, like this bottom step right here. We want to hold up against that while we drop this motor out, because once again, there's going to be tension on there. Once that motor is dropped out, we can pull our steps in and we can go ahead and run a strap around it to hold our steps up while we travel and get it to a service station for repair. Now, one thing you want to watch is once that motor comes out, you want to push that little tab right there and slide that out and just remove your motor. You need to be careful because this gear right here needs to come with it, as well as the little dowel pin that sits inside that hole. So when you pull it out, make sure if pieces drop out of it, you want to know where they go and take that whole assembly with you. Maintenance-wise, the things that we need to be concerned about for our steps is watching for any rust that might develop, any of these hinge points where it might be catching. We want to keep all that area very well lubricated with silicone spray. Any areas where paint might have chipped off, we want to go ahead and paint that with a little black spray paint. And of course your grip right here, if it starts to come up, just trim it off so that area doesn't keep catching and eventually pull the whole thing up. Those are the main things we need to be concerned about. We know what they do, we know how to operate them, and we know how to disable them and get them back up so we can go ahead and get to a service station. It's everything you need to know about power steps. Thanks for following us here at Great American RV Superstores. If you're not following, click that like or follow button on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, wherever you found us here today. And thanks for watching here at Great American RV Superstores, where we bring the how-to to you.
Making memories, one week.